This is a 2014 Honda Grom. This is a 2025 Kawasaki Z125. They're both mine. I bought the Z125 new, the Grom used. First thing I'd like to say is these bikes are more similar than they are different. But there's a few subjective differences, key differences, I think, that really set them apart and make me really want to choose one or the other. So I wanted to make this video to showcase a couple of those things to help you decide which one's right for you. So first off, I'm going to start up here on the controls. The levers. These are really the only thing that I've changed on the Grom so far, and really just it was a personal feel thing. If you compare the levers on the Z, the stock levers, they just feel better. They cradle your finger a little bit more. The Grom ones are a little clunky, and that's why I've changed out with these aftermarket. I honestly probably wouldn't need to change the ones on the Zs because they feel good already from the factory. Working our way down, this is something that I don't hear many people talk about, but the seat, the saddle, it's no competition. The Grom, you know, it's a cheap bike, feels like a cheap saddle. If you hop over to Z125 though, it's immediately different. This is cushy. It's I have a Tiger 800, and that's a comfy bike. This is also a comfy bike. I'm not saying I'm going to be doing hundreds of miles on this tiny little thing, but the Z definitely wins as far as comfort in that respect. Working our way down, the foot pegs. This is something that everyone's covered already many times. The Z's got these solid foot pegs. They're a lot higher than that, so for track use, for leaning these things over, really we start scraping peg on the Grom pretty easily. They're about 1 inch higher on the Z, which adds for a more sporty feel. They're rubber mounted on the Grom, which gives you a little bit more comfort, but kind of a vague feeling when you're trying to be doing any sporty riding. Speaking of rubber mounted, these handlebars on the Grom, these are rubber mounted, and while it likely adds to some comfort when you're on the track or doing any real sporty riding, you can kind of feel a little bit of a vagueness in the handlebar feel. That's a bonus or a negative in some respects. The Z, on the other hand, is fully rigid mounted to the triple clamps. So for more sporty riding, the Z takes the win there. The rear shock on the Honda, not adjustable at all. There's what you see is what you get. If you want to make any adjustments to your preload, you got to go buy a new spring. The Z, on the other hand, has some preload adjustment, so that's already a huge win right off the bat. If you're a heavy rider, if you're a lighter rider, you can tweak it a little bit to your uses and to your riding style and to your weight. That just gives you that much more adjustability out the box. Styling, it's subjective, but I like this guy a little more. You already got some sporty looking mirrors here. You got your kind of standard circular mirrors. As far as the giant fenders on the back, they're both pretty giant, but for sure the Grom has a bigger, massive thing off the back. Now, actually, there is a kind of a hidden advantage to the Grom when you're doing track riding. It's actually really easy to remove this giant fender. There's 4 bolts that hold it into place, and that are accessible right under the seat. I've taken to just riding this. I'm fortunate enough to live very close to a kart track, and I just ride this thing straight to the kart track, bring it down there with a couple set of tools, pull the rear fender off. There's a small little clip to get a few wires to unplug, and pretty much pull the mirrors off, and I'm pretty much track prepped. The Z is a little bit more difficult to do that. Tank size. The gas tank on the Z is bigger. Now here's a feature that's totally unnecessary, but really nice to have if you have it. Gear shift indicator. The Kawasaki has it. The Honda doesn't. The Z, depending on who you are, is a little taller, but you know, these things are really tiny bikes. I am a pretty short guy to begin with. I'm 5'4", 28-inch inseam. Both these bikes freaking fit me. Like, it's great. And even though these are both ridiculously tiny bikes, there is one thing about the Z that is not very small bike-like, and that's the turning radius. It takes, even though they have the same steering lock left and right, it does take a lot more space to turn this thing around, and that's very noticeable moving it around in the garage or a parking lot. Performance. They don't really have any. They're 125cc, 4-stroke, single cylinder. They're not built for that. They're built for fun. But I did recently bring these down to the local go-kart track for some fun, and I gotta say, the Z felt faster. But when I reviewed the footage, the Grom was I was actually a lot faster riding these two back to back. So the biggest issue with the Grom as it sits right now actually is the gearing. It's geared super high. The Z I was able to get from, actually go through the gears on the short track configuration at the go-kart track and shift between second and third gear. But the Grom, I was literally in second gear the entire time. But the torque throughout that was pretty substantial. Kind of felt like I had to shift up and down to stay up high in the rev range on the Z, and that was proven by multiple dyno graphs that are available on the internet. The thing about shifting, it's a lot of fun. The Z was a lot more fun. The Grom was actually faster. The Z felt more at home going around corners on the track. One other consideration was tires. On the Grom, I actually have these Midas MC34 street track tire. It's grippier, but still able to ride on the road. The Kawasaki's brand new bike, so I still have the stock tires, which actually grip pretty well. The reason why I switched the tires out on the Grom was because when I bought this, the previous owner had 50/50 dual sport tires on them. It was being used as a off-road kind of play bike. It's actually quite capable off-road. You throw some knobby tires on there, and it's pretty decent. This more upright seating position, it kind of wants you to, with the foot pegs the way they are, low, more farther forward, you're pretty upright, and standing up feels pretty natural actually. Be able to move back and forth on here. It's actually not a bad platform for off-road use. On the Z, this is really more of a shrunken, naked sport bike. It has factory rear sets. These foot pegs here are a lot higher, a lot farther back, and when you sit on it, it's kind of more of a cramped, more aggressive street riding position, and standing up does not feel right at all. You're hunched over. That's not what this bike is for. Bottom line, end of the day, I would say this is a shrunken, naked sport bike. This is an overall, all-around fun hooligan play bike. Stunt it, put knobby tires on it, go take it off road, or just stock tires on it, take it off road. Just be silly with it. Do anything with this. Because that Kawasaki is a lot more fun on the track, on the street, trying to get a knee down, getting some good lean angle on it. That's not to say that either of these two bikes could be modified to do one or the other thing better. In fact, the Grom is actually going to get a few mods to make this more of a track weapon. I'm going to get stainless steel braided brake lines, because the brakes themselves are pretty decent, but they're a little spongy for my liking. The Z actually felt a lot more precise with the braking. I'm going to get lower handlebars, probably get solid mounted handlebar mounts for that. Rear sets, these are going to get swapped out for actual rear sets that won't break on their first crash. Knock on wood, I haven't crashed yet, but I totally intend to, as this is going to be my track bike. That they're going to be farther back, more aggressive stance, and most importantly, I'm going to get a much lower gear ratio on this Grom. So That's it, you guys. I love both these bikes. Really, at bottom line, either of these bikes, you can't go wrong. You're gonna have a blast no matter what. So hope you learned something. Hope that was informative, and go ride. I'll see you out there.